Hey everyone, excited to be back for this week's edition of Frequently Asked Questions for Commercial Real Estate. In today's video, what I wanted to do was talk about a question that I got recently from a gentleman that's an aspiring restaurateur that I'm working with, and as we're looking to identify spaces for their restaurant. And that is, what exactly is a second generation or second gen space? Now, this is a term that you're going to want to know if you are, in fact, a restaurateur or really any business owner that is looking for space for their business. So before we dive into this video, I would greatly appreciate if you could like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and ensures more and more people can hear this message and learn about the many facets of commercial real estate. So now you've done that, go ahead and like and subscribe below. Let's go ahead and dive right into this episode. All right, so first question is, what exactly is a second generation space? Well, a second generation space is a space that was utilized for a particular use prior to you trying to move into that space. Since I operate in the retail space primarily, we typically utilize this terminology when we're looking at restaurant space. So there used to be a restaurant in that location, and now you're looking for spaces that used to be a restaurant. But it can also apply to all different types of business uses. So for example, if you are a business that creates a particular type of widget and you find a space where the previous tenant did the same thing, that could be a second generation space for you because you can essentially move your operations in and hit the ground running without having to spend a significant amount on a build out. Now, the reason why second generation spaces are so beneficial is for that exact reason. Doing a build out on a space can be extremely expensive. And if you're talking about a restaurant space, it's oftentimes one of the most expensive build outs that you can do. So, I talked to several commercial contractors in town, and, it depends on where you're located around the country, but typically restaurant build outs can range anywhere from $85 a square foot all the way to $500 a square foot if you're located in a top of the line location and you want top of the line finishes, etc. It can cost you an absorbent amount of money. So if you think about it, let's say that the price per square foot that you've been quoted for a build out is $200 a square foot, and you're looking at a 1,500 square foot space, that could mean $300,000 in build out cost just for that particular restaurant. And again, this is a price tag that a lot of newer restaurant owners are kind of shocked by, but that's how expensive it is to fit out a restaurant and get the proper equipment, the hood, the grease trap, and all the different components of a restaurant in a particular space. So the benefits of identifying and moving into a second generation space is that you can avoid a significant portion of that build out, and then you can just move in and operate your business as intended. Now, before you do that, which is, again, I work with a lot of restaurant owners that are looking for spaces, you first have to ask yourself several questions before just automatically saying, hey, the second generation space is perfect for my restaurant. The first and probably most important question that you need to ask yourself is, why exactly did the previous tenant fail? Now, in a situation where the second generation space was utilized by a restaurant for a period of time and the restaurant owner just decided to retire and not have to deal with it anymore, maybe that's a different story. But if in fact the restaurant was in that space and for some reason failed after several years, you really have to get down in the weeds and get an understanding of why exactly that is. Check the visibility, the accessibility, check the demographics of the area, get a feel for what the different tenant mix is if it's in a multi-tenant center. That'll inform your decision about whether or not that space is going to be right for you and your business. Number two is, what condition is the space in? Just because it's fitted as a restaurant space, if all the components that you were interested in utilizing within the restaurant are damaged or there's something else wrong with them, then the build out cost could be just as big as it was before. So really getting a feel for what the condition of that space is extremely important. That's why you need to contract, either HVAC technicians, plumbers, or even get a commercial inspector involved prior to you signing any type of lease to make sure that all the major components of the restaurant that you intend to use are functioning correctly and that they're in good condition. If they're not in good condition, you need to be able to work with the owner of that property to make sure that you can get it into a condition that's acceptable to you. And if not, then you get to walk away from the opportunity. You just save yourself a lot of heartache. So that's number two. And then number three, get an idea of what the rent and expenses are for that space and see if they're in line with what the market is dictating. There are a lot of situations where landlords see this as a second generation space and they're like, okay, well, I'm going to jack up the rent to an exorbitant amount, when in reality, maybe what the dynamics are for that market may not be in line with what they're wanting to charge you as the tenant. So that's really where our expertise as commercial real estate agents come into play, because we understand the market dynamics and can properly advise you on whether or not taking an opportunity or negotiating, the rent or other expenses may be worthwhile pursuit for you. So if you're looking in the Louisville metro area or surrounding areas for restaurant space, for your aspiring, either you're aspiring restaurateur or you're a multi-location restaurant, please give me a call. I'd be happy to help you identify locations for your business. My number is 502-536-7315, or you can reach me via email at raphael@croissantigroup.com. Along with that, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and ensures more and more people can hear this message and learn about the many facets of commercial real estate. So thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you all next time.